May 1910. 9 crowned heads squeeze onto a single step in Windsor Castle, grinning like schoolboys at a reunion. 4 summers later, those same smiles are frozen on recruiting posters and newspaper front pages, because Europe is burning, and the family photo has become a wanted poster for a lost world. Edward VII, known everywhere as Uncle Bertie, has just died, and his funeral has turned Windsor into the biggest royal meetup in history. Black crepe flaps on every railing, but you wouldn't guess it from the chatter. The photographer waves his flash pan. Let's meet the lineup. Standing from left to right, first is King Haakon VII of Norway, a Danish prince elected to the Norwegian throne who will keep his country neutral through the coming storm. Next, Tsar Ferdinand of Bulgaria, a shrewd and ambitious ruler who will side with Germany and Austria-Hungary, joining the Central Powers. Then the young King Manuel II of Portugal, who will be deposed just months after this photo is taken. His country, however, will join the Allies. Towering in the center is Germany's Kaiser Wilhelm II, the ambitious and militaristic grandson of Queen Victoria, who will lead the German Empire into the heart of the war as a commander-in-chief in name more than in practice. Beside him stands King George I of Greece, a Danish prince on the Greek throne, who will be assassinated a year before the war even begins. And finally, King Albert I of Belgium, the soldier king, who will become a symbol of heroic resistance when his nation is invaded by Germany, firmly placing Belgium with the Allied powers. Seated are King Alfonso XIII of Spain, who will keep his nation out of the war and earn the nickname the Royal Knight of Charity for his remarkable humanitarian efforts on behalf of prisoners and civilians of all nations. In the center, the man of the hour, Britain's brand new King George V, who will lead his empire with the Allies against his own cousin, the Kaiser. And on the right, King Frederick VIII of Denmark, father of Norway's King Haakon, who will maintain Denmark's neutrality but won't live to see the war's outbreak. They trade jokes in 3 languages, straighten sashes, and for one last moment, the personal still outweighs the political. Frederick of Denmark is Haakon of Norway's dad. Yes, father and son are posing 3 feet apart. Frederick is also brother to the late Queen of Britain, which makes George V his nephew. Kaiser Wilhelm, meanwhile, is first cousin to both George V and to Queen Maud of Norway, who just happens to be married to Haakon. The British king and the German Kaiser, soon to be on opposite sides of the war, share Queen Victoria as a granny. The Norwegian king married their cousin. If you're getting dizzy, imagine the seating chart at Christmas dinner. Every crown in the frame is nodded to every other by blood or marriage. Allies? Nah. Relatives with very big armies. Europe in 1910 is basically swagger on steroids. Britain's empire is so large the sun never sets on it. Literally. Germany's steel mills outhammer everyone else's. Russia glowers in the east, France fingers the trigger on the Rhine. Secret treaties, brand new dreadnoughts, and newspaper wars keep the continent twitchy. Parliaments and press barons are starting to drown out the lullabies of royal blood. Yet that morning at Windsor, they still believe a stiff letter, a cousinly telegram, maybe a quick sail on the royal yacht can sort things out. Spoiler, they can't. June 1914. 2 pistol shots in Sarajevo. Austria-Hungary rattles sabers. Russia mobilizes. Germany signs a blank check. France digs trenches. Britain hesitates, then remembers Belgium. By August, the guns roll. Of our 9 monarchs and their nations, the battle lines are drawn. King George's Britain and King Albert's Belgium will fight alongside the Allies. Kaiser Wilhelm's Germany and Tsar Ferdinand's Bulgaria will form the core of the Central Powers. The kingdoms of Haakon's Norway, Alfonso's Spain and Frederick's Denmark will desperately cling to neutrality. The countries of the exiled Manuel of Portugal and the assassinated George of Greece will eventually join the Allied cause as well. Telegrams fly, but they're no longer birthday greetings, they're ultimatums. Cousins exchange not handshakes, but artillery fire. George V keeps the British crown, but loses cousin Nicholas, Russia's Tsar, to a cellar in Ekaterinburg in 1918. Frederick VIII, lucky man, dies in 1912, peacefully in bed. Haakon holds tiny Norway out of the carnage, then watches his wife's German cousins lose their crowns and castles. Wilhelm II abdicates, scuttles to the Netherlands, and dies in 1941, still muttering about betrayals. Ferdinand of Bulgaria loses his throne in 1918 and dies decades later in exile. Manuel II doesn't even make it that far. Portugal boots him out in 1910, and he ends up buying rare books in England. Albert I of Belgium becomes the face of stubborn resistance through 4 years of German occupation. Alfonso XIII clings on until 1931, when Spain votes monarchy off the island. George I of Greece, shot in Salonika in 1913, the first of the 9 to go. By 1945, only Denmark and Norway have the same monarchs they started with. The rest are either republics, rebel, or asterisks in history books. Look at the photo again. Those plumed helmets and chestfuls of medals belong to a world that thought war was a cavalry charge, not barbed wire and mustard gas. Today, only 5 of those monarchies still exist, and most of the kings left are constitutional mascots rather than cousins who could order a fleet to sea over lunch. The picture is a time capsule of both affection and naivety, a reminder that family ties turned out to be gossamer against machine guns. History loves to look harmless until you zoom out. If stories like this make you squint at old photos a little harder, hit subscribe, drop a comment, tell us which ordinary moment you think deserves another look. And if you know someone who still insists the old days were simpler, send them this video. 1 photograph, 9 kings, 4 years to catastrophe. Next time anyone claims the past was a gentler place, show them this image. Behind those easy smiles lies the fuse of the 20th century. They came to bury a king and ended up burying an age.